And here we are. Welcome to another episode of Naturopathic Stories. And today we have Tami, who is joining us, and she has many great stories to tell. But I think we're gonna let her share one or two of her stories. We've been working together for 10 or so years now, Tami.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for taking some time out and doing this. Again, the job is to document the naturopathic stories, show people that we have, definite other ways to manage our health and keep ourselves healthy and heal our bodies. And so that's kind of the things that I'm documenting is sort of, number one, the naturopathic story and the naturopathic journey. And then number two, sort of inside that is the story of the paradigm shift. And so if we can kind of speak to those two things, that's what we can do today. So if you want to just take a second, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you found yourself on a naturopathic journey.
Well, my name is Tami Garside, and I'm happy to share this because of it's real. And I think the reason I sought you out was one of my clients started going to you, Mary, and she was so vibrant and so I'm like, hey, I want whatever she has. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I came because I was really seeking truth. I was so confusing of everything. When I first came to you, I didn't even know what kind of water to drink. And I needed someone I could trust and believe the truth and cut through all the bullshit. Yeah. So that's, I think, when I first came, and right away, that first appointment was so different than anything I've ever experienced. Just the information you gathered and the things you asked. And it was so thorough, and just not just from a physical standpoint, but mental too. I mean, when someone asks you how you feel, with their hand on the doorknob, that's usually what you get when you go to a doctor, truthfully.
Yep. I think that's a little bit of that paradigm shift. That's a really good point. I hadn't really thought about that, but it's from day one, it is a different experience. Anything else you could say about that? Because I hadn't really thought about that, but I think that's really important. I mean, so I think the standard, office visit with a primary or a medical doctor, the average visit is 7 minutes. And
yes.
So you kind of speak into that. Maybe can you just say just a little bit more about that to contrast that difference? Because it's a stark difference, and I don't know if people quite understand that. I'm glad you brought that up.
It's amazing. And I just had a big example of that because I needed to have surgery, and I had to go to a GP to get approval to go to the hospital. Right. Crossing their boxes there. And of course I couldn't use you. Right. And she asked me, she had a computer, and she asked me all these questions. Have you had this test? Have you had that test? You do this? Oh, your age and blah, blah, blah. And she didn't ask me anything about my lifestyle. What she said, you drink or smoke. I don't even think she made eye contact. She didn't touch me. She listened to my heart and ordered blood work. Tried to order a whole bunch of tests, and it was disheartening and such a disconnect of who I was and if I was healthy enough to even, it was just paperwork.
Right.
It was just, and
right.
When I come to you, it's so much more thorough and comprehensive, and you listen, and you're not just looking at some chart to tick off the boxes. You're listening to my words to help you help me. And you don't have that experience at all anywhere else.
Yeah. That's the paradigm. That's the paradigm experience in a nutshell right there. They're very different worlds. I'm glad you brought that up. So, we've been through a lot of different things. Do you want to just kind of pick maybe one or two stories out that you're thinking of that kind of stand out for you, just a good healing story that you can think of that comes to mind, and share it with everybody?
Well, one that comes to mind is to do with my career and my lifestyle, and it was a few years ago after working in an industry for over 30 years, working with chemicals and in environments as a hairdresser, and not knowing really what I was even working with. but it started to take a toll on my hands externally. And I think this is a good story because I actually had some strong visuals with it. Sometimes we're not treating things that you can see on the outside of the body, but my hands got so bad that I look like someone put cigars out on them between my fingers, on the top of my hands. And of course I had to keep working, and I just tried to cover it up from people so they wouldn't look at it because it looked so bad. And at the time you were actually practicing in California, but you were still my doctor. So long distance, we're talking about this, we're FaceTiming, I'm sending you pictures. And I got a lot of peer pressure at the time, which is one thing that happens when you dedicate to natural medicine, is you get a lot of peer pressure from family, friends and stuff. But, you know, that's just something, a side note you have to deal with. But so I think another example of that paradigm, if I had gone anywhere else, they would have just treated it topically, sent me home with some crap. But you tell me, well, you have to remove the health obstacle. And I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? You got to get out of that environment. You got to get out of there. Now, no doctor in the Western world is ever going to tell you to leave your job for your health. Like, you got to get out of there. You got to change something. No one's going to tell you that. But you did, and I listened, and I got out of that building. I changed products. I found an organic line. Eventually my hands cleaned up. It took a little while and dedication to get to the cause and to get back to where I was and be able to keep doing my job. I had to make some changes. But that was a success story for me. And it was huge because, like I said, I had visuals to document. And I mean, it's like nothing. I mean, they cleared up, but again, from the inside out, you can't always see that.
Right. And that's exactly how it works. I mean, that's the paradigm shift again. That is the paradigm shift, is understanding that the solution is not going to come from the inside or from the outside. It's got to come from the inside and then work its way out and clear itself out. And that was a great example of that. Because like you said, I mean, you had it was visible. There were physical, changes there on the hands, and people, I mean, if I remember, people, they thought you were crazy for not, going to the derm and going about it a different way. And that again brings up a different, another really good point about, if you do go that route, the allopathic route, in that particular situation, the solution is most likely going to be steroids. And then people the confusion that people have with suppression and cure. And suppression is different than cure. Suppression, you suppress it and it goes away, but then only to come back another day, where that might have happened quicker. Maybe you could have suppressed it in a week or two. And this, I don't remember exactly how long. I think it was more on the order of, weeks to a couple of months. But then look at the difference. It was a true cure versus a suppression. And then again, we removed the obstacles to cure, and you did what it actually took, and it got better and stayed better.
Yep. Yes. I had people actually say to me, you need to see a doctor. I'm like, I have a doctor. Thank you very much.
I got one. It's funny. So, I mean, that's a really good one, so just for you, Tami, how do you think, that's one example, but just over your journey. And I mean, I think this wasn't your first rodeo. I mean, you were kind of naturally minded even before we met, but definitely, since we met, and naturopathically, it's really, we've spent a lot of time together. How is your perspective on health and healing and medicine changed or evolved over that time?
Well, having a guide and someone that, I mean, if people want to be healthy, you can't just walk into a health food store and start getting supplements off the shelf. I mean, you still need a doctor. You have to know You have
Yeah,
to know dosage, you have to know what's the right thing.
exactly.
So having a guide and a doctor, someone you trust, again, to cut through the bullshit and tell you the truth. I don't have time to, you can research all day long and not ever get to the answers you're looking for unless you're following the money. And those aren't the answers that I'm looking for.
Mhm.
But so, and also I think a big thing is learning how to manage my own health. You
Yep.
know, you gave me the tools, you gave me the guidance, and but you were always there. Like you never just abandoned me. Like doctors like, oh shit, they're not open today, I can't get a hold of them. I
Right.
mean, it's so having someone that you truly trust with your health and that can guide you and teach you and tell other people. I mean, this little video isn't just, I tell people all the time. And that just that there's options, that you can take control. There's people there that can guide you through to be your optimum healthy person.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I don't believe people can do it on their own without the information that you share and the tools that you give them.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like getting all such the good points. You've been, I mean, it's kind of the way I think about it is like, which exactly what you're saying is, it's like, I think of myself as like, I mean, number one, I'm just human too, but in the sense of this, I feel like I am like a Sherpa, like a guide, like that. And that's kind of the story you just told, that's the Sherpa. It's like, if you want to climb, the Himalayas and you want to do that, just like this, if you want to manage a complex health issue, are you going to do it by yourself? Or are you going to get somebody that's maybe been there before and they can say, hey, turn left here, go right here. Hey, hand, let's go this part. I mean, that's really what the journey is. What would you say? And then just one more thing I heard in there, the responsibility that so there's another good point that you brought up about the responsibility that comes when people are doing naturopathic medicine. And it's a radical responsibility that it takes to be able to do it. It's definitely, and I think I don't know if everybody's ready for that. So that in one sense, like, this might not be for everyone, but if you really, are ready to kind of step up and do that, I think that was just another good point about the responsibility. I think it's easier to kind of put it off on somebody that's going to give you a pill or a potion or a lotion, and you don't have to do anything, right? Like, that's like, but then again, that's not going to be the long game answer. That's going to be a short-term fix, but then there's going to be downstream and side effects, after effects, unless we take the radical responsibility. I think that was a really good point to bring up too.
Well, I think people are, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I think people are used to and comfortable with the quick fix,
totally.
the instant fix, Google MD and then go out and get whatever they say at the drugstore, just quick and move on. But
Yeah.
that's not living your best life.
Yeah, totally is a great point. So, if somebody was, what would you say to somebody who is, maybe on the fence or thinking about, working with me, or really working, getting into naturopathic medicine and kind of taking that step? Somebody's thinking about that on the fence. What would you say to a person?
Well, I think I would ask them if they were willing to commit to having optimum health and living their best life. Because if somebody's willing to commit to something, they're going to do the work. And if they're caught up with this mindset of insurance and this and that, and I just say, well, because that's their first resistance when they go through it. I go, what's your health worth to you?
Right.
Because without your health, you have nothing. And if people don't invest in something, they don't own it either.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, totally. and the health is the wealth. You know, you could have
Yeah.
all the money, all the investments, all the properties in the world, but if you don't have your health, you can't enjoy any of it. So really
Well,
good.
and I think I wait too for people to ask me, because if they want or care about my story, or the people that I've referred to you that have
Mhm.
also enjoyed greater health. And I don't mean just, oh, I'm healthy. I mean zest for life. I mean vibrant health,
Yeah.
your best health, your best you.
Mhm.
Then, then yeah, it's not a secret. This is how we're doing it.
Totally. Yeah. It's not a secret. It's not a mystery. It's nothing new. There's nothing new or alternative really about anything we do. These are time tested and measured methods that we employ. And I think that's a good point to make too. You know, this is as old as the sun, what we're doing. And I think it's the future of medicine. I think it's the history of real medicine. It's the future of medicine. And you know, these are really good points and really good stories you brought up. Anything else you want to share at all, Tammy, before we kind of wrap it up today? Anything you're thinking of?
Well, I just want to say to the people, what the hell are you waiting for?
Oh, nice. I heard that. Hey, thanks again for taking some time out today. I think this is a really great documenting here. Really appreciate it. And we need to get together real soon, okay?
Yes.
All right. Hey, I'll
All
see
right.
you later, okay? All right. Thank
Thank
you. All
you.
right, see you.